A lot of us, including me, are living against our nature. We fill our day and we go through it doing things that we are not really wanting to do. We get along the day with anxiety, with stress, with frustration, sometimes even with anger and hatred about things and people and events and circumstances. We realize that we have been overreacting to something and handling something through anger or hate when it could be handled with calmness, peace of mind, and clarity. Dealing with things in the energy of anger and hate and frustration or fear, because I think fear is the root of all these negative emotions and feelings, and the energy of dealing with them from a place of clarity, of calmness, and a little bit of wisdom that allow us to dress it, to understand it, and to have the courage to change what we can really change, and the wisdom to accept what we cannot change because it's not in our control. And let's admit it, in this life, maybe 100% of what is going on in our life and all the circumstances and people and events and things are out of our control. We cannot control how people think about us, their opinion of us, whether they like us or not, or force them to love us, circumstances to go our way, things to unfold the way we expected them to, and just move on in life. Unfortunately, it's not the case. Things just happen. Circumstances are what they are, and life is what it is. And an important thing to understand, at least from my point of view, as a realization, is that really circumstances do not matter. What matters is how we are going to react to it, or better said, how we are going to respond to it. What is going to be our perception of it? How are we going to interpret it? And what meaning are we going to give to it? And to do so, the most important starting point is first of all to become aware of it. So once we are aware of what is going on within us, how we are feeling about something, the emotions that are arising about it, is it happiness, is it sadness, is it loneliness, is it anger or frustration, is it shame or guilt, whatever is the feeling that is rising up is a feeling that is showing to us an opinion, a judgment that we are having about something. Simply said, a belief that we have around something. And what a belief is, if not a story that we tell ourselves about something. And in this story, there is a meaning. There is a way of experiencing it. Because through our emotions, we experience life and we go through it. We experience anything that is relevant to us, that we have filters that allow us to perceive it more than anything else, that highlighted it to us more than anything else. And becoming aware of this thing, understanding that it's not about what is happening, it's more about what is happening within us. What are we making it mean is really a big, big move forward in our life. I think it's the best breakthrough we could ever have constantly if we stay in a place where we learn to become aware of whatever is happening within us when anything outside of us is coming in our life that is we are attracting somehow, and we are noticing and observing, and by observing it we are giving it a meaning, we are judging it, we are giving it an opinion, and through this process we are feeling emotions towards it. And this awareness is a first step, because when you are aware of what is going on, you have the power to own it, to say, okay, I get it, I do have this feeling, I do have this emotion, I do have this significance, this definition of something. And then comes the time where we use our judgment or our opinion and our skill to perceive things and understand them in a more constructive way, where we are valuing if something is actually relevant for us to give it our energy and our attention or not. And if we decide that it's relevant for us and important, we can there start questioning what is the definition, what is the meaning I'm giving to it, and if it's the only way to define it and to perceive it, or if there are other ways to do it. And I know for myself and my experience and what I have learned in 42 years of life is that we do have the choice to whether define things in a way that helps us and serves us, or to find them in a way that do not serve us and maybe destroy us. That's where comes our power, because we choose how to respond to a circumstance versus just reacting constantly. When we are in the modality of a reaction to anything in life, we are telling life that we do not handle things, that we are in a position of being defensive, resisting to things, maybe resentful. And in the reactivity are all the negative emotions, such as the anger, the hate, the resentment, the guilt, the shame, all emotions that are, as I said previously, hiding beliefs we have about ourselves. It's an opinion that we have about ourselves that is unconscious up until the moment we become aware of it. We open our eyes and see it, and start seeing it for what it is, and start seeing how we are feeling it. We get clarity through the observation of it, and owning it and allowing it to just get to the surface, to express itself, in order for us to be able to dress it for ourselves, and from that moment choose how we are going to relate to it from now on. Because here is the thing, everything in our life is a relationship. We do have a relationship with everything. How do we relate to it? And this relationship is going to create what we define as how we experience things, how we feel about them, if we love them or not, if we prefer them or not, and if we want to keep going on that or not. And I think that if we learn to become aware of how we are feeling about anything, we will be able to change the way we feel about it. And we have a lot of options. We can either choose to be neutral, which is a good balanced position to be in, because it gives us the space between us and what is going on, the circumstances or the people or the things that are happening. And it allows us to give ourselves space to integrate it, to understand it, and to choose how we are going to feel about it. And this is, I think, a very powerful position to be in. Now the question would be, if I am in a position of, for example, strong emotions such as anger, because I think that anger is one of the most powerful emotions we do have, and it can be very destructive if it's not managed accordingly. Anger has been on the ride. It has been dictating my actions, my reactions, the way I interact with myself and others, and it has been destroying me from inside and outside, and affecting me and bringing more things to be angry about. It was as if I was wearing a glass or making filters that only show me all the reasons why I am right to be angry. And I couldn't get out of it. I was just feeling exhausted. But thankfully in this life, it's as if something is pushing us through those negative emotions, for example, the anger, to get to a point where we can't handle it anymore and we don't want to have this feeling anymore. So we get to a point where we start asking the question why, because we became aware of it from experiencing it on, and honestly, feeling negative emotions is against our nature. When we feel bad, we are not aligned. When we feel bad, we are not connected to ourselves. When we feel bad, we are not acting from a genuine place, from an authentic place where we are ourselves doing things that we believe are right for us and doing good things for ourselves. When we are in the negative emotions, we are acting against all of that. We are doing something that we don't really believe we should be doing, and we are believing things we somehow within us feel that they are creating a disconnect, and there is a conflict inside us. And that is what I mean by saying, from my observation of the people I'm seeing and experiencing in my life and in my job, there is a lot of anger, there is a lot of frustration that people are throwing all over the place. And I see people reacting to life in a very aggressive way. And I feel sad about it, because when you learn what is this emotion and why is it happening, and understand that there is nothing wrong with you when you are feeling them. It's not about a problem with you. It's not that you are ill or sick or wrong or there is something to fix on yourself. I think it's an invitation for us to reconnect. It's as if within us, our soul is telling us that we are doing something that is against our nature, and that is why we are feeling angry or upset or sad. It's an invitation to reconnect, to step back, and to let those emotions speak to us and reveal to us what is going on. What are the stories that are going on our minds in subconscious way and that are triggering in us such strong reactions to life and to events and people. It's an invitation for us to go question the trigger, to become aware of it, to understand where it's coming from. Is it in our childhood? Is it in situations where we have been disappointed? And is it in meanings that we have give to people or things? Is it that we have gave the power to something external to us to decide for us how we are going to be living our life? Emotions are such a powerful tool that we do all have. It's just that we are not taught how to listen to it and to use this tool in a constructive way. We do have this in our nature. It's something that is built up on us from the childhood. You can notice how we express ourselves through those emotions, and our body expresses those emotions externally to convey them and communicate with the external world, expressing a need, expressing attention, expressing validation, expressing the will to connection or any basic need. And that is our way to communicate with others. But what we don't learn, unfortunately, is that emotions are a language per itself, and it's a language of energy, a language of vibrations that are projected and reflected in life around us to signal to us where is it that we are dismissing ourselves, where is it that we are not validating ourselves, where is it that we are not giving ourselves the permission to really be ourselves and express it loudly and freely and genuinely, and just reaching out for what we really want and consider to be important for ourselves. Anger, a topic that is very close to my heart because I have been dealing with anger for most of my life. Anger that I realized later that it was unexpressed needs, unexpressed values, unexpressed principles, and unexpressed things that were really important for me to live in harmony with this life, to live in harmony with nature, and to be myself, to own who I am deeply, to be my true self, far away from any other external superficial definition, such as the definition of our name, our origins, or our gender, or the job we are doing or not doing, or where we are living. Something that is more powerful and more important and deep than what is it that we have been taught that we are. And this anger have been pushing me the hard way to wake up and to start understanding, who am I truly? Who am I if I am not the job I am, if I am not the things I have, if I am not the names or any labels that I do have when I am around the world and in my environment and interacting with others? I realized that all those definitions, all those beliefs, all those emotions and stories that I was telling myself about who was I supposed to be to fit in this situation or in this society? Who was I supposed to be accepted, to be validated, to be approved by someone else, to have the permission to be included and accepted in any society or condition or anything, to be what we quote unquote is being successful or being respected. And I realized that all of those things were just stories and conditions that I didn't choose for myself. And nobody actually told me that this is how or who I should be. And I realized that it was all opinions that I just absorbed from childhood and let run the show of my life and all my decisions up until the moment I started to wake up from this. I started to feel so uncomfortable within myself to the point that I started to really search for a solution, an answer, to understand how to get rid of this internal conflict and disconnection. And anger, for example, taught me what were my boundaries. Where was it that I was disrespected and I couldn't take it anymore? Where was it that I wanted to say no and I felt like I had to say yes because I was afraid I wouldn't be accepted, feeling unworthy because I said no instead of yes. So I realized that I was very often saying yes outside when all of myself inside was saying no, we don't want this. It's not us. It's not right for us. It doesn't feel right. And I would find myself trying to justify, to explain, to resist my natural instinct to say no to so many things. No to things that I didn't need. No to things that I didn't want. No to things that I didn't agree with. And that's where I come today, to invite you to start welcoming those emotions instead of resisting them. Because the more we resist them, the more we are going to feel a void inside of us. The more we are going to feel frustrated because we are not meeting our own expectations towards ourselves. We are not listening to our own real, concrete needs, the ones that we really know and we are responsible for. Because we try to please everyone and we love being accepted by anyone. And we are so scared of not being enough, for feeling wrong or not understood, that we really neglect the most important part of us. Believing inside of us somehow that if we don't say yes to all of those things, we are going to be less than anyone else. And we are not going to be worthy of anything. Chasing all the time that external validation that will never come. So what's important? It's to start really understanding who we are, what do we want, what we do not prefer. And sometimes it's easier to start by the things that we don't prefer, the things that we want to say no to from now on, because they are not aligned with who we are. And most importantly, start to understand that we do not have to justify ourselves all the time to everyone because we are saying no. I don't think that people will condemn us or hate us or reject us because we are saying no to something that is not aligned with us, with the intention that by doing so, by going against ourselves, we are gonna meet them where they are and they will gonna accept us. When I realized those things and I started saying no to the things that I really don't prefer and I don't agree with in a healthy way, because there is something very important. When you are reacting from a place of anger or frustration, you are still saying no with your energy, giving it to the smallest conditions or to the wrong people because you weren't able to simply act from a place where you are aware of yourself and you really listen to your needs and respect them and honor them and communicate them. So anger is the opposite of this self-aware, calm place where you are just saying no instead of saying yes. And the energy is louder than the words. The energy is louder than actions or anything because it's a vibration that people feel in the same way that we feel what others, their energy. That's why sometimes we feel like we are not feeling safe with a person, or we feel like we want to avoid a person or a conflict. It's because we are perceiving and feeling, sensing their energy. If we don't know how to understand our energy, we are going to be drawn by it and fall into the reactive mode where we are going to react, not understanding what is really going on. So instead of anger, I really step back when you feel that anger rising up, because you know it. You know when you are about to become angry. You know when you are about to be triggered and to switch to that dark modality where you really say and do things that are not really you. You become extremely aggressive physically or verbally or mentally or emotionally. So I think it's important to start feeling that in your body. The only way to do it is to really become aware, listening to ourselves, present. we know what are our triggers. If you are someone that hates being considered as stupid, you're going to be triggered whenever someone is saying or acting or behaving in a way that make you feel stupid. And what is triggered on this moment, because you are seeing what is going on there, inside of you something is happening that is saying, I don't want to do this, and I'm not stupid, and I don't believe I am gonna do it. Why are you pushing me? And that's when you start being aggressive, because you don't know how to convey it, how to stop all this situation, how to get into this conflict in a constructive way, especially when you are dealing with something that you put on a pedestal that you consider very important, and his opinion is important for you. Somebody that you feel threatened because you know that they have the knife on their hand, and you know that they can ruin your life, for example, your boss at the work. And what is triggered on that is an old story. For myself, for example, I realized that something that really makes me angry is when people don't process and listen to my feelings or my opinion when I'm saying something. When I'm sharing with them my vulnerability, for example, or my feelings or my opinion about something, and they dismiss it or change the topic or speak above me or ignore me, that is something that used to really frustrate me and make me angry, to the point that I can be aggressive, that I can speak louder and start to defend myself and find whatever way to make my point, and really maybe don't sleep the night and replay it in my mind, repeating and feeling how unfair was the situation and how bad I was on that situation, and that I should have done better because I know better. So I will be beating myself up, angry, working on this thing for days, and also reacting badly with other people that really don't have nothing to do with it, or overreacting about small things just because something happened that I really didn't deal with when it was the moment and I didn't understand it. So you see how the reactive mode can be really affecting your whole life and your whole interactions, and ruin days of your life and also your health, just because you weren't aware of it on the right moment and dealt with it. And in this, when I started studying myself to understand where is it all coming from, I realized that my anger is triggered on this situation because in my childhood, I was never considered. I was never heard. My emotions didn't matter. What I had to say didn't matter. My passions, my way of expressing myself, my needs were never met. And it's not that I am blaming my family or my society or my past. It's just that in that moment, in the childhood, we do not have the safety. We think that all our life is around our parents, and we really need to adapt to them in order to be safe, because we have no place else to go, to run away or to escape. So it's as if the external world is all dangerous and we have no way out, because our parents are the only place we can live in. And in order to live in it, and of course we do love our parents, we do have such a picture of them and we put them on a pedestal, and we do everything for them in order for them to love us and accept us and validate us and make us in this place in the safe place. So in my childhood and in my teenage life, and I kept going with that to my adult life, this feeling of not being safe and not being heard and understood created in me a frustration, because I still wanted to be heard. I really wanted to be accepted and validated. I really wanted this need of expressing myself to be understood. If I say I want to do this, I wanted people to, especially my parents or the important people in my life, to accept it. I needed to be heard by them. I needed my point to be made and for them to understand it finally. But unfortunately, it never happened and will never happen, because they are not able. I understand it today and understand where they are coming from. They come from a place of, this is how we have been taught to protect our family. And this is how we have been taught. We are the parent and we choose for you. We know what is better for you, better than yourself, and so you need to follow our rules, and anything else is not valid. And most importantly, I lived and grew up in a society where we do not understand the emotions. We dismiss them, we suppress them. You are not allowed to express your emotions. You are not allowed to cry. You are not allowed to laugh, to smile. You are not allowed to speak. You are not allowed to be excited about something, and you are not allowed to really enjoy things. You always have to suppress them, to not show anything, to be always neutral, because if you are not, nobody's gonna take you seriously. And people will laugh at you because you are expressing emotions, because emotions were interpreted as if they are a source of shaming someone. So that's where I came from, and today I understand it because I developed a lot of awareness and understanding. And today I understood also when I sat with myself to understand my anger and process it, because I couldn't anymore expect from the external world to listen to me and to process for me. I cannot allow myself anymore to be surrounded by people that are emotionally immature and not good communicators and always trying hard to make my point with them. I stepped back and I understood that to move on with its anger in a productive way and make a better relationship with it and turn it into a constructive emotion, I needed to really understand that I don't need to make my point with everyone. I don't need to be understood by everyone. The only person that really has the right and must be understood by me is myself. I understood that I needed to be emotionally mature and aware, so to learn from scratch how to feel my emotions, to be aware of them, to question them, to understand them and listen to them instead of avoiding them, and to start knowing myself and noticing where do I get angry, what triggers my anger, and instead of reacting in an aggressive way to defend myself and create my safe space or adapt or cope with things or people, I learned that I can communicate it better. I can communicate it better when I communicate it to myself first, because I need to clarify my needs with myself. I need to make a better relationship with my emotions, and I need to reread the stories I have told myself since my childhood about my worth, about my values, about who I am, about my needs and what I want, and to start to communicate them with myself clearly. And trust me, the moment you become clear with yourself and you really understand who you are and what you want, what you do not want, what you accept and don't accept, unapologetically, without justifying yourself, because you only need to be clear with yourself and know yourself so deeply and strongly that no matter what happens outside of you, you know when you go inside of you, you do have the safe space where you can process it, understand it, and deal with it, because you create your safety. And when you find yourself in challenging situations, when you're somebody stepping in your safe area or crossing a boundary or pretending from you something or putting high expectations on you, you are able to communicate it in a safe way and putting just the enough fair energy that it needs and requires, and to step away if there is no point on that. Because anger is, in my opinion, from my experience, have been always to make a point, to clarify something important for me, to set a boundary to protect myself and protect my safety within. And I thought it at the beginning that by being angry or aggressive, I would be protecting myself in the best ways and nobody will ever approach it. And then I realized I don't have to be angry and I don't have to make the point to others. I just need to know where is my safety and not allow anyone to cross it. And I can convey it in a very natural, wise way. I don't have to scream louder to make my point. There is no need anymore. because today I do have my safety and I can say no to things that are not okay for me, and I'm not gonna be punished anymore. I'm not gonna be dismissed anymore. And if somebody dismisses me, I can walk away today because I am free. I am free and I know myself so much. I know my boundaries so well, and I know that I can handle anything. I have learned on my childhood and all those experiences how to be resilient. So instead of adapting to stay in a safe place and make everyone happy and care about emotions of everyone, I started to learn that this safety is within me and I can be resilient when things are not going the way I feel natural and authentic for me. I can move away from that and just strengthen my relationship with myself and my boundaries and my needs. If somebody is not gonna welcome it and understand it, I don't have to be insisting and frustrated because I wasn't understood by them. I got to a place where I can be the big man in the situation. I can be the one that understand me, my needs, and understand my anger and why is it happening and where is it coming from, to talk with it and slow it down and stay with it and solve the problem within, and don't have the need to explain it to others and to make my point with everyone. I got to a point where I don't have to be right. I don't have to make my point. I don't have to have the last word on any conversation. I don't have to be engaging with circumstances or conflicts in wars with anything. I don't even have to win a war, because today it's not about making a point with anyone if not with yourself. I invite you to really invest on knowing yourself, invest on knowing your emotions, and commit to be self-aware, to be present, because being present is the good way to be always self-aware. And take your time to know yourself and to communicate it in a healthy way. And don't seek for validation from outside of you. If you ever have to seek validation, seek it within, because you are the only one that have the duty to validate yourself. And stop believing that you are wrong or there is something wrong with you, because there is nothing wrong with you or with anyone else for that matter. We are all really complete and whole people, human beings, and it's just that we do have different journeys and different ways to process things and to perceive them. Knowing that you really are a whole human being, you are unique, you have your own unique individual way to make meaning of everything happening around you, and how you want to experience it, how you want to relate to it, is the only thing that you do have the power to do. So this could be, in my opinion, a great healthy way for us, a human being, to get more in our natural state, doing what we want to do and being who we want to be, and saying no to what we do not want to say yes to, and start saying more yes to what we really want. I think it could be a good medicine for the world, because it would remove from us all the waves and of the frustration, and will help us to focus on what really matters for us, help us focus on what is really relevant for us. And one thing is sure, is the opinion of others of us is not relevant, as well as what we think of others, because we put a lot of energy and time in giving our opinion about people or things that really are none of our business. We think that also people are really caring about us, when in reality it's all in our own perception. It's all in our beliefs, and it's all in our thinking, when it's not the reality. The only thing that really matters is you. Are you in peace with yourself? Are you listening to yourself? Are you doing the right things for yourself? Are you making your point to yourself? And are you meeting your own needs? Do you know what your needs are? Are you meeting them? Are you safe within? Because it's the only place where you need to be safe. And trust me, when you start feeling safe within, you are gonna be more safe in your relationships with others, with life, with environment, and anything else. You are gonna start defining life in a different way. You are gonna start defining everything in a different way. And it's an amazing tool to be at the observer of our emotions, and from observing them, rewriting our stories. I hope that this can help you find some peace within and embrace angry from a new perspective, from a perspective of willingness to listen to yourself whenever you are angry, to find that peace within, and a healthier way to communicate with yourself and others. I wish you well, and I can see you in the next video.